Now, the ravaging virus known as COVID-19 is yet to stop spreading as the virus continues to affect every aspect of human existence. The film production industry of Nigeria is not left out in the sweeping storm.
How the virus has halted the production of Nollywood movies is the center of focus as we look at the effect of the COVID-19 on Nollywood, Nigeria's film industry.
Well, joining us now is Segun Arinze, a Nollywood actor and former president of Actors Guild of Nigeria. Welcome to the show. The morning show here, of course, on the Rise News. Now, let's get straight into it. This pandemic, COVID-19, has taken a huge effect on so many sectors in the country. However, one sector I'd like to talk to you about, of course, is the entertainment, or in this situation, the film industry. Now, you know, obviously, to produce these kind of movies and shows for the audience, these actors and actresses have to be in close proximity. It's really hard to film a movie while practicing social distancing. What would you say is the biggest take-home lesson from this as an actor?
Hey, good morning. It's a tough one because as professionals who work on set day to day and would traverse every nook and cranny of the country, we get to meet people of diverse nature, even within ourselves, the hugging, the torching, the camaraderie. It's a bit difficult now. We find ourselves in a very strange setting right now. And because of that, there's a lull in the industry right now because you cannot shoot. We have, and knowing that the industry is such a big one, that's a major job provider for lots and lots of people, lots of young people, writers, producers, stagehands, production assistants, and what have you. Right now, it's been nipped in the bud. So there's serious adverse effect, right, as we speak right now on the industry, and we are just hoping and praying that this epidemic and pandemic goes away as fast as it says, yeah, because you know also that you also understand that in times of crisis and times of revolt and all that, people stay at home. Entertainment is one thing that binds everybody together. I can't even begin to tell you the amount of people who watch Netflix right now, or Africa Magic, or Rock TV, and other platforms. So entertainment is thrives in periods like this. Unfortunately for us, this has been nipped in the bud, and it's quite sad.
But can you categorically confirm that there are no locations that are active at the moment? Are you saying all productions have been halted? And secondly, let me ask you, because so far we can confirm that at least one case was recorded at the recently held AMVCA Awards. It's the biggest award on the continent for the industry. How is Nollywood coping with the outcomes of that night where at least one person was confirmed positive from that award night?
To answer your first question, I know for sure, for certain, that no production is going on right now. None. At the initial stage, when the news broke out, there were productions and then it became skeletal. But right now, there's a total lockdown. Nobody's producing anything, and people are really scared. Nobody wants to mix, and of course, begin to practice social distancing. So that, in effect, is it's put in place. It's nipped everything in the bud, like I said earlier. As for AMVCA, I understand that quite a number of my colleagues who attended, some of them are in self-isolation right now. I haven't gotten details so far, but I know that the guy that was said to have been affected or infected by it is also under quarantine. That's much I can tell right now. I don't have the details, so I cannot tell you what I don't know. But what I know is that a few are in self-isolation right now.
All right, let's talk about costs. You said some productions were on. There's a backlog at the time. The movies can't go to the cinemas. The movies that were even in the cinemas are probably out now because I'm sure nobody will go to the cinemas are shut down now. Let's talk about the after effect of the cost. Somebody pushes out a movie in February, for instance. He wants it to span up till Easter period. Nothing is happening now. Easter is another big market for movies. Let's talk about cost. Have you guys tried to estimate the costs?
Astronomers, the cost is heavy. When I say heavy, I mean heavy. And the other thing is, because of the nature of the industry, we set to keep working every now and then, cinema houses, television stations, TV networks on different platforms. So it's huge. It's humongous. I can't begin to count the losses that we have right now within the past few days that the industry has been shut, or that the country has been shut. It's I don't know how we're going to recover from this. Quite frankly, I do not know how we will recover from this. As we go along, I'm going to read out something that my very good friend, former president of the Association of Movie Producers, just released 2 days ago. It was talking about the effect of COVID-19 on the industry. That's Mado Chikwendo. But as we go along, I'll read it out and see some of the things I say. And he made quite a lot of sense for me. I was even speaking with him this morning. I said I was going to quote him this morning with some of the things he said.
All right, real quickly, I want to ask a quick follow-up. Bank loans. A lot of those people have taken out bank loans for these productions. Are you guys talking to the banks already as an association on the moratorium?
Of course, there will be talks. There will be talks behind as to how you're going to offset the loans. This is what we call force majeure. Nobody planned this. Nobody wished for this. It has happened. So what happens now is you find that there's going to be a total recalibration of everything. It's like a reset button being pressed. After this whole incident, there'll be a reset button set, and then we need to now go back, take stock, and start from the beginning. It's like using an eraser to clean off something, and then you start all over again. In terms of cost, in terms of personnel, in terms of environment, everything links to the other. So it's big. It's really big. I just hope that the banks will also understand where the producers and the directors are coming from.
This current disruption may be unprecedented, but the media industry has upended, or the entertainment industry has upended so many times before. You did mention Netflix. Like, a lot of people are home now, and even according to news studies, new research has shown that there's been a jump from to about 80% of how much content people are consuming right now as they stay in their homes. Looking forward to the end of this pandemic, do you think that the entertainment industry in Nigeria would now focus on making more content for online? And how will that be managed in a country where we're still trying to understand the inner workings of the internet, so to speak?
Yes, I know that after this, that there'll be more online productions now. In fact, it has started, even though, like you rightly said, we're still grappling with trying to understand how it works on the internet. But I know that once this is over, that more attention will be on online productions. There'll be streams of income from that wise. But let's say I go for now. I wouldn't say we should play God. For now, I'll just say let's sit back and pray that this wind blows away as fast as it came.
Everyone's prayer, Mr. Arinze. But let me ask you, is there any silver lining here for Nollywood at the moment? Is it all, doom and gloom? And you did say that you wanted to read out something from the past chairman. If you can read that out now, and if there's any silver lining.
Well, in every disadvantage, there's always an advantage. I'm sure there'll be silver linings, but we, like I said, we need to go back, sit down, recalibrate, and try to understand what next to do within ourselves. What Mada said here, if you allow me to read it, it said, beyond cash, government can demonstrate its commitment by ensuring inclusion of creative industry in policy discussions, in spite of making all the right noises. CBN did not invite the creative industry to the economic roundtable held weeks back, and the sector included in the initial palliatives. The government should raise the bar by consulting with experts in the creative sector to streamline practical ways and means of accessing the 220 billion CBN CIFR fund. Policy discussions at highest level of government should cascade beyond the ministerial level to government agencies like Nigerian Film Corporation, National Film and Video Censors Board, and the single biggest leadership in the creative industry, the bank, that's the Bank of Industry. This is Fasal Kal to talk about boosting non-oil exports without confronting the operational and policy challenges. How do you loan money to a sector without adequate protection? So you see, I totally agree with him on that the sector needs to be carried along in the scheme of things, which not just be looked as one side is an entertainment industry. We are providing jobs. a lot of people who before now didn't have anything to do, a lot of people who went to read medicine, law, or marketing, architecture, what have you find them in the industry. They are in the industry. Some of them turn out to be actors, some of them turn out to be producers, some of them turn out to be writers, and there's always a training and retraining and all that. So it's a major sector of the economy, and I don't think we should be treated with disdain or just lip service. So I see that, I know that there will be a civil lining like you asked initially, but we need to sit down right after this and tell ourselves some home truth. What next for Nollywood after coronavirus or COVID-19, as everybody calls it?
But if you could hazard a guess, why do you think that the CBN could have overlooked the creative industry in this stimulus package that they've sent out in this period?
Ask me who I go ask. I do not have answers to that, so you should be asking the CBN that question.
Perhaps, do you think it's a problem of structure? The creative industry in Nigeria, how well structured is it? We have so many guilds, we have so many umbrella bodies. Perhaps that's a problem.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem, because in the US and in the UK, you have guilds. Now, Nollywood is an industry, and then you have the various guilds who form the nucleus of the main body of what you call Nollywood. Actors Guild, Directors Guild, Producers Guild, Writers Guild, Cinematographers Guild, Costume, Makeup, and all. They also have their guild. And then also in this you have Entertainment Writers Guild. All part of the nucleus that forms what you now know as Nollywood. So I don't think it's a question of structure. If you say it's in terms of building up, yes, gradually the structures will begin to. We'll begin to build the structures as we go. Rome wasn't built in a day, mind you. So I do not think that it's a question of structure. I think it's a question of government taking us very, very serious and not looking at us as what the Yorubas would call alawada.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the role of Nollywood in Nigeria's growth and development cannot, be overemphasized. I tell people that Nollywood have done so much to portray Nigeria in the light it is in the world than almost any other sector in this country. But I want to talk about the cameraman, the draftsman, the other people in the industry that they live from production paycheck to the other production paycheck. As this is going on, how do they live? How do they survive? Even some of the actors, how do they survive? If this goes on, we don't pray for about a month or two, and they live on paycheck to paycheck on production, how do they survive? Is there
prayer is that a lot of people, the prayer is that people should have saved up money before now. You should have the habit of saving for a rainy day. I don't even know how to begin to answer this question, because that same question will affect every sector of Nollywood, every guild of Nollywood. It's a tough question to ask, but I know that for one, that AGN is trying to do something, because last I spoke with Emeka Rolas, who's the current president. He was talking about palliatives, and I know that he has set up a COVID-19 committee within the AGN there, and they're working out some modalities of how this should work out. So I'm sure that within the next couple of days we'll get a clearer picture of what this is all about.
To just quickly come in here and ask you what your reaction is. The Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Mr. Festus Keyamo, came out and said that broadcast service providers like DSTV and GoTV and even internet providers should take this time to either give subscribers a month or 2 months free of channels, and the same thing for internet providers as well. What's your reaction to this, as someone who is in the entertainment industry and uses this platform to reach so many people?
1,000% behind Keyamo's statement. I loved the fact that he came out and said that. I think it should be some palliatives from DSTV, from Rock TV, from all the platforms. These are perilous times, and if we need to be indoors and use our phones, even MTN and Co. should give. This is a time for all these telecoms and all that to begin to give back to the society, because they've made a lot of money. There is no day you don't make phone calls or use data. There is no day you don't watch TV or get information from TV on other platforms. So it's time to say, hey, these are perilous times, these are critical times. Let's give you some leeway. Let's give you some freebies, maybe a month or two, and let's see how this goes. I totally 1,000% agree with Keyamo on this. And if these are companies that have come to Nigeria and they're thriving and they've made so much money. When I mean money, I mean money. So why not? Why not go back to the subscribers and subscribers and say, listen, guys, we're giving you a month of free or two free. I agree with him totally on that.
You've mentioned how the association or the guild is planning to help cushion the effects for practitioners in industry. But let me ask you about
Nigeria. I don't know what other guilds are planning, but from what I discussed from the president, the current president, Emeka Rollas, yes, I know that he's working on something with his team.
I'd like to talk about individualism now, because all over the world and even on the continent, we're seeing artists lending their voices, their platform, their resources to educate, to inform the people who look up to them, who watch them. So let me ask you, is Segun Arinze doing anything individually or collaborating?
I've been following my Instagram pages. I've done quite a number of things in terms of educating people. I think right after this interview, you should go on social media and check it out and you see what I've done. And I will continue to, there's no stopping, there's no letting down.
But let me, narrow that down, because I'm not really talking about handing out cash to people. We also have the issue of people who are not complying with this directive to stay at home, people who don't understand social distancing and self-isolation. What are you doing in that regards?
I mean,
Not as Segun Arinze, maybe as an association, maybe as a group of celebrities. Are we passing down these messages to those people who look up to you?
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, we're saying the same thing. That right after the show, you go on social media and you see what we have done. We've preached, myself, Benga, Deyinka, quite a number of actors and actresses have been talking about social distancing. Keep your hands clean, wash your hands, stay at home. If you have nothing to do outside, just stay at home, comply. We preach that, and we cannot overemphasize it enough. It's something that we have to continue ringing it into everybody's ear that if you have nothing to do, just stay at home and maintain social distancing, wash your hands every time, use sanitizers. It's imperative that we must do this. There's just two ways about it.
You want to talk about a group of people. There are some of your members across the guilds that are sick, that are suffering long-term illnesses, and the support they have gotten is because of the individual support of some of the actors that are supposedly in the limelight today, doing quite well. They can still eke out 1 or 2 amounts of money for them. But now that everything is shut down, I mean, who takes care of those people? I mean, we only recently, had the death of Pa Kasumu, that was sick for quite a while, that was on the support of some other actors before he passed. And there's some other people that are currently ill now. I mean, who takes care of these people?
Well, I know that I'm in some groups that were trying to raise money for quite a few of them. I know that Sadiq Daba is one of the people you're talking about, and also Dan Emeni is also one of the people that you're talking about. I mean, various groups that were trying to put money together and send out food and cash or what have you, and find a way of sending them, get their account numbers and send money to them. So we're working on that. We're all behind the scene working. Nobody is actually relenting in actual fact. I'm in almost like 23 or 24 WhatsApp groups in the industry, and talks keep coming about raising money for different things and different projects. So we're not lying fallow. That I can assure you, we're not lying fallow.
I am curious to know, I mean, you are here in our Lagos studios, however, in a different room because of social distancing. And I'm curious to know what Segun Arinze has been doing during this lockdown period. I mean, there are a lot of people who are home now who have never had to experience things like this and are going out of their minds. How would you, what would you say to these people with the platform right now?
I am one of such persons. I'm very restless. I'm a very creative person. So I find myself at every point in time I need to be doing something. But this is reality check. Boom. It's hit me in the face so hard. So I'm trying to adjust. Like I said earlier, it's a recalibration. So what I do, I just sit indoor, follow the news. If there's no light, try and put on the gen. And luckily enough, some of the filling stations around the neighborhood are open, so you buy fuel or buy diesel and run your gen till when NEPA will bring light. And also, by the way, let me say a big thank you to Ada Ame for what she did recently, talking about the light issue. It was tremendous that she raised that up. Kudos Ada Ame for doing that, and they had to bring the Speaker of the House of Representatives to come and talk about it. That's a way forward. So for other people like me, I will advise just sit down at home, and if you can, in the morning, take a walk around your neighborhood. It's a form of exercise, keep yourself in shape. There's no need need getting too bloated because you are at home eating, getting fat, and all that. Engage yourself in other things. There's lots of WhatsApp group there. You can chat with them. You can do online video. You can send out messages of hope to everybody outside there, like we're doing. So, and I know that this too shall pass.
Dade, let me get your opinion on how the government has been reacting to this pandemic so far in Nigeria. There are those who say, you know, these responses are not tailored to our local realities. The likes of Segun Arinze doesn't agree with some of the measures taken by the Nigerian government. What is your own opinion about the response to COVID-19 in Nigeria so far?
There's a lot of controversy to it. Everybody has an opinion about what they think or how government should have done this or shouldn't have done. But at the end of the day, listen, government is government. They will do what they have to do. That's the truth. You can bring up your ideas, you can say what you have to say, but if government is taking a stance, they follow what they want to do. And if they fail, the onus lies on them to come back and apologize and say, sorry guys, we got it wrong. We'll go back to the drawing board and start afresh. I do not want to condemn anybody, but I'll just simply say, government knows what they're doing, so let's let them do what they're doing. And when they fail, we'll be right there at the wings waiting to give them a piece of our mind. Segun, I agree with what Segun has said, but government is government. They're very powerful. They decide what they want to do. If you shout from now to tomorrow, if government is not going to listen to you, they will not listen to you because there's a policy thrust. So what you can only do as individuals and corporate communities come together and do the little bit you can to support your people. That's the only way out. I wish us the best of luck in these trying times. I really do wish Nigeria the best of luck in these trying times.
A very big thank you to you and Segun Arinze for your time here. We're definitely going to see a lot of COVID movies when all of this is out. Maybe a COVID love story starring Segun Arinze and the like. Thanks a lot.